Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Fatal J with another installation of Indie Comic Secrets. And we got a special guest in the back. I saw this man's story. He did what most men in the comic book manga world wouldn't do. We're going to speak on that. But ladies and gentlemen, welcome my man, my friend, Ethan Zolotar.
Hey, thank you, Fatal J. What a great intro. You got some great intro.
Hey, my brother, I just want to say this, man. Your last name, it sounds like a Voltron villain or something, you know?
Let's go. So all my life, I've been collecting what people say my name sounds like. Everybody's got something, you know? And yeah, Voltron, I've heard that one a couple times too. That's good.
Yes,
and it's funny because I always get asked if that's a pen name because, you know, I started off as a book author and, you know, now I write comics and they're like, what's your real name? I'm like, no, that's my real name.
That's dope, man. I want the people to get to know you, man. So let's take it back all the way to the beginning.
Okay.
I want to know the origins of Ethan. I want to know the origins of your love for writing books, for getting into this manga world. So take us back and let us know about the passion that grew inside of you when it comes to books.
For sure. Yeah, I grew up in a family that just had a whole library of books and a mom who, for some reason, I guess because I was in martial arts at the time, I did a lot of Taekwondo, subscribed me to the Shonen Jump magazine as a kid. And so, you know, I had a few Western comics, so don't get me wrong. I loved Wolverine. I had some X-Men. I had some Teen Titans. I loved that stuff. But I was getting every month Shonen Jump magazine, and I had a whole library and a family that, you know, really had a culture around reading. And so I was reading tons of fantasy literature growing up, and all of that fostered my love for storytelling. And people always ask, like, you know, how long have you been writing for? And really, truly, I was that kid who would handwrite, you know, on notebook paper as like a 7-year-old stories and try and give them to relatives and friends and stuff and get them to read my stories. So I really have been writing and passionate about it my entire life and drawing for a lot of that time as well. So it goes all the way back to my roots. The true love and passion for the comic side of things came from Shonen Jump magazine, reading things like Bleach and Naruto in that magazine every month when it came in the mail. And then, you know, as I grew up and grew into more deeper literature, into my sci-fi roots that I'm much bigger fan of now, that's kind of fed into the stories I write. But it all goes back to manga for me, really.
Now this is how I get to know somebody.
Okay.
I want to know, like, out of the Shonen Jump or Western comics, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a favorite writer and do you have a favorite artist?
Ooh, yeah. Okay. So favorite writer is going to be a little bit of a lesser known one. I have really gotten into Urasawa, who wrote Monster and 20th Century Boys. And he writes these light on the fantasy, but psychological thrillers. So that's my like current newer favorite as an adult. But my lifelong favorite has been Full Metal Alchemist on the writing side of things.
Okay.
What
about the anime though? You is it more manga or anime when it comes to Full Metal Alchemist?
Oh, well, of course, Brotherhood and the anime is a masterpiece. It's one of the best adaptations ever. So that one, it maybe is about equal, but I'm a much bigger reader than I am a watcher. So I'd say I read about 90% of the series and I watch only a few, you know? So for me, and I think the mic's in the way, but I've got the full deluxe version of Full Metal Alchemist on the shelf.
Hold on, let me blow you up. I can blow you up, you know?
There we go. Yeah, see, I got Monster behind me if I move the mic real quick.
Okay.
Full Metal Alchemist is there next to the Dune book, and I got Akira on top. And
Okay, see, you really about that anime life, man. How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 30, just turned 30.
Man, you're a youngster because I'm 39, and I see that Akira in the back.
Yeah,
I can honestly say that Akira was my first introduction to anime. I saw it on a Sci-Fi Channel used to have a segment on Saturdays called Saturday Anime. And
really?
and when I saw Akira, I was 7 years old, and my mind was completely blown because I said, okay, I seen cartoons, but I've never seen them on this level. you know?
It was doing something different, even in Japan at the time. But to bring it here in America, where we didn't have a lot of that anime back in the late 90s, it was crazy.
Yeah.
But let me, so to answer your question, on the Western side, though, for writing, I love Rick Remender. I think he's written some amazing stuff at Image Comics. On the art side, Jorge Corona and Scotty Young, that team, like they did Ain't No Grave last year, and they've got a series called Middle West. I really love the stuff they do.
Okay. See, man, you different because people give me the usuals, like your Frank Millers and all that, and that's all good. But I think it's dope when you say names that people don't say usually. So the people who watching, they can go research these writers and these artists and have a new experience. Now, let me ask you a question too, because this is how I get to know people. Do you have a favorite character? And this can be either anime wise or Western wise.
Yeah, I mean, just from my nostalgic roots, Edward Elric from Full Metal Alchemist is my favorite character. He really is. And then on the Western side, I grew up really loving Wolverine. He was probably my favorite on the Western side. Okay.
Yeah. All right, let's take it back. Let's take it to your company. Now let me get this name right. Hyperbora.
Oh yeah. So Hyperborea is the name of my series.
Okay. Can you break that down to the public? Tell us what this is all about. Is this a manga series? Is this a novel, or is it both? Let us know what this series is all about.
So I got started writing novels, and my novels are I kind of pitched them as like a X-Men meets Avatar: The Last Airbender with some anime influence. Okay. And so that's how I got my start, and I got really lucky to work with this amazing artist named Rodrigo Rizzo on the covers. So this is book one here.
Okay. And man, that art is dope.
Oh yeah, he's incredible, and I'll show off some of the other book covers too while we're talking. This is book two. Wow. And Rodrigo has a flair, and last one. So here's book three. And Rodrigo really has a comic book flair to his style, and so the combination let me do really well at Comic-Cons. And so I started touring Comic-Cons with this book series, Hyperborea. And my passion has always been, I'd say I read probably like 70-30 between comics and novels, so more on the comics side and the manga side. So the dream has always been to make something into a graphic format, but that takes resources and time, as you know. So I didn't quite get there until last year. But then it became a manga series. So we're adapting the books now into a manga while I work on a new book series.
Okay, so this is real interesting to me because, I'm thinking about, I come from the comic world first, but I'm starting to try to dabble with novel. I know you like both. I know you have a passion for both. But if you could just pick one to do for the rest of your life, would it be to write novels, or would it be to produce manga?
It would be on the comic and manga side. I'm truly in love with the art form of comics. Like the graphic form is just beautiful to me. I could study Toriyama's layouts all day, and I can fall in love with paneling and the way colors are used and everything. So it's definitely on that side, but again, I do enjoy both.
Man, and I say again, that artist that you have for your books, wow, that's top tier, man. That's not your Fiverr.com type of artist. You know what I mean?
No, Rodrigo is
wow,
absolutely incredible. And what I'm showing you right now is prototype art. This was basically, I got this crazy opportunity. I'm sure we'll get into that, to go to Tokyo Comic-Con and take this there. And we weren't quite ready with the manga yet. We were still just getting our feet wet and figuring out our process and our flow. And so we rushed together what we had ready. And so, I mean, it says 0.5 on the bottom there for what volume it is, because we just basically created an ash can, a preview issue, right, that we could take to Japan. And I spent a month staying up and getting it typed, doing all the typesetting in Japanese so I could have it in Japanese and English at Tokyo Comic-Con. So we've got a Kickstarter live. It's actually closing right now in 5 days. Whenever this goes live, probably be on the last couple of days.
I'll put it up.
Thank you. So that'll be for the formal Volume 1 launch. But what I was showing off, like a preview that we took to Japan.
Okay. Your comic book company, your manga company, your novel company. Do you have multiple books? Is this a big universe you're trying to build? What you trying to do with your company?
Yeah. So I have, on the book side, I'm actually working on something completely different right now. I'm working on a cyberpunk story, kind of a spiritual cyberpunk is what I would call it. So it's completely different. The last book I wrote, book 3 in the Hyperborea series, it was hefty. It was about 150,000 words, and it was a big effort. And I've been working on the manga in parallel. And so I wanted something a little smaller and to maybe get a break in terms of genre and work on something else. So that's coming out this fall. So I do have other stories. I have tons of stories I want to tell. But in terms of the Hyperborea world, I've probably got another 2 to 3 books that I want to write. And then the manga is going to adapt as much of that as we can keep the momentum going for. It is a big immersive world, huge cast. Like, I have plenty of ideas for spinoffs and side stories and things like that if I want to. But with the fan base I have now, I got to keep going with the main story because that's what people want.
Yeah, but this the thing, man. This is what I noticed. The legends in the game, your tokens, your George R.R. Martin, it's all about that world building. And it seems like you're doing some serious world building when it comes to those page counts. You know what I mean?
No, I am. Yeah, we've got this. So in Hyperborea, we've got this really cool system. It starts off almost deceptively, where it's like this Dune, Mad Max meets X-Men kind of story. And you've got these siblings that are stranded in a post-apocalyptic version of our world. They have these superpowers, but the government is harvesting their abilities and using them like slaves. And so they just want to break free of that grasp and figure out where they come from. Very origin story. But as they figure that out, it expands into this world. They try to break away. And so the government's after them. But then so is this crime organization from off-world that shows up. And they have abilities like the siblings. And so then it unfolds into this great mystery of what is Hyperborea, what is the source of their powers. And there's almost this portal system, but with a mirror world to ours. We had technology, and we ended up kind of going into a post-apocalyptic future. But this mirror world had a superpower kind of system. And so they didn't develop the technology as much. And so I developed this mirror world to ours. And it's very, very big world building. There's a lot going on, a complex power system. And so there's room for a lot of stories to be told.
Man, that sounds like the making for a big multi-million-dollar movie, man, because it seemed like the content that we're getting now in Hollywood is on a fast food level. But what you just told me sounds like a luxury, high-priced dinner. You know, you taking your time. You know, you're building the characters up. I love it, man. And I also love the fact that you said this. You said it's Dune, Cyberpunk. You know, you take a piece and put it into your own gumbo. And I love that, man, because, you know, I can see myself watching a movie sometimes. And I'm like, you know, if they did this a little better, then I watch another movie. If they did this better, I think it's dope if we take all the little pieces and combine it into a dope story. So, man, I'm hyped, man. I got to get me some books. I got to get me some manga from you, man. You know.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll make sure you get a copy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, let me ask you a question, man. This is kind of on the business side of things. When it comes to your novels, when it comes to your manga, how do you distribute your books? How do you distribute them? How do you promote them?
Yeah, so I'm at a transition point right now. So this is interesting. We can talk what I did and am doing, and then what I'm about to do.
Okay, break it down, brother.
So starting out, kind of the go-to way as an indie, a self-publish, is to do KDP through Amazon for novels. And to have print on demand, and people can order through Amazon. And so that's what I have been doing, it still is available. And then I've really grown my network and built out this business to the point where I now have a printer. Their name is Alanders, and they print out of the Midwest. They're not too far from me. So they're doing a lot of my printing now, and I'm going to eventually shift over to hopefully them fulfilling, as long as I have the volume that they fulfill as well. Okay. And that'll allow me to open up. I'm about to open up a TikTok shop as well, especially with the manga launching. So we're about to do the first print run as soon as the Kickstarter closes for the manga. And now that's a different game, right? Graphic media is not as easy to do print on demand. And so I'm going to have Alanders, this printing company, printing all my books. And then I'll start off fulfilling them myself while we're at, volumes I can manage. And if it keeps growing, Alanders has the ability to also take on the fulfillment and do all of that as well. So that's kind of the game plan. And then in terms of marketing, so far it's been all boots on the ground. I have done a lot of conventions all over the US. I'm really blessed to be based out of Kansas City. So we've got one of the bigger conventions in the country here called Planet Comic-Con. Okay. So that's my home base. We do that. They have Planet Anime coming in October. I'll be doing that with the manga fully launched at that point. And then from there, I can shoot down to so many cities: Springfield, Missouri, Tulsa, Oklahoma City, Nebraska, Ohio, Iowa. Like I do all of the Midwest region in drivable distance. And I've been branching out even more. Like I did Houston a couple of weeks ago for a show called Tokyo X. So that's how I've
we barely missed each other, brother. We barely missed each other.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm based in Houston, man. Yeah.
Man, okay. Well, if I do that show again next year, I'll make sure we meet up. Okay.
We'll make sure, most definitely. Not to cut off your flow, man, because you're doing a dope job. I hear the hardcore guys that really believe in their products. They always say comic conventions is their bread and butter. But it's something that you left out. And I just think it's real interesting that you left it out, because I noticed when people list the way they promote and distribute their comic books, this one is kind of like fourth or fifth in their list. And I'm going to ask you a question about it.
Okay.
Comic book shops.
Mm-hmm.
Speak on it, brother. Speak on it.
Okay. Yeah, well, and there's a couple aspects to this. One is that I haven't formally launched my comic book, right? Okay. So we're at a Kickstarter. We're about to do the first print run. Comic book shops are difficult. Some of them are a little uppity and snooty, and especially with having a manga. I went around to all the local Kansas City ones really close to me, and I'll try a few others, but they really didn't give me the time of day, or they weren't really interested. Actually, down in Houston, they have one of the biggest and best comic book companies in the country called Bedrock City. And they actually were very interested. So I'm talking to them about stocking my series in their shops. Okay. So it's something I'm looking into, but it is definitely, I mean, with the internet, and being indie, I think comic book shops, where they may be like the front line for the mainstream trad publishing industry, they're actually more of the later down the line for an indie publisher. So, a lot of those places want to see that you already have success. They want to see that you are selling copies before they want to put it in their shop. And so you got to prove yourself a little bit. So I think that's how it's going to play out for me, is that we're going to have to build this up organically, have online sales, have, the successful Kickstarter, all that, get in a few shops, see how those shop sales are, and then show that success to other shops.
That's funny you said that, because I had a guy on. Matter of fact, he was the first interview I had. His name is HG German, and he does just like you, kills it at the conventions. But he told me, he said, I can't really trust. He said he has books in the comic book shops, but he can't trust Joe Smo of a comic book shop to promote his book over Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, Iron Man. He said comic book shops is 4 or 5 on their list, but he said when it comes to indie creators, just like you said, you can't really trust them to promote you if they promote you at all, you know?
Yeah, I wouldn't expect them to promote me at all. You know, it's just
Yeah.
literally getting in the shop would be all they do for you. And there would be no promotion. And for example, I went to one shop here locally that was smaller. Granted, he genuinely did mean this when he said it, but it was still a little rude. Like he didn't even want to look at, or like if I showed him what I was doing, he just glanced real quick and just, I don't have room in my shop for anything else that's not Marvel and DC.
Wow.
So it's like, you know, he had a small shop. He did have every piece of wall space filled, but it's like, yeah, if it's not one of the big publishers, I don't have wall space for it, was kind of his attitude.
But you know what? Good that you can take rejection, man, because most people, if they get rejected like that, that would just be life ending for them, you know? So good you for keep going. Let me ask you a simple question. What have worked best so far for you? And what do you see people doing in the comic book world that you don't think is working? I know that's a tough one, man.
It's tough, yeah. So I mean, I can say what I see not working, in my opinion, is the it's really difficult. And I understand that as an indie creator, you got to get the funds. You've got to go piece by piece. But like what I'm doing here is I'm not launching issue 1 as a floppy, right? I'm not doing a 20-page, and I'm not crowdfunding to get the artist paid to do it. I paid all that up front. And we're actually pretty deep into volume 2 right now. Like we are finishing about page 40 on volume 2, and I'm still not even printing volume 1. So my strategy is really to have a professional level product and to have volume 2, you know, available for people by Christmas, and to have a real professional product that can stand toe to toe. I think what's difficult in the indie space is a lot of people will try to raise funds just to make the comic. And I get it. It's okay to do that, but you're not going to be taken as seriously, right? People are going to be waiting to get what you want. They're going to hope they get another floppy, you know, next year. And you just don't have that momentum. So the big thing I see is I'm trying to be price competitive with the traditional publishing industry, right? I'm putting out on the Kickstarter, granted, there's some perks. There's going to be color pages in this as well as black and white, and it's going to be signed and all that kind of stuff. So it's, you know, and we're raising funds. So, but $16 for a volume of manga on the Kickstarter, and then I've got a like deluxe foil edition with a foil cover and silk pages for a little bit more. But it's not too much more than what you would get in the shop, right? So that's 1, and 2 is like one of the perks, and we already reached this stretch goal, is everybody who backs the Kickstarter is going to get an advanced digital look at volume 2 in the fall before I even launch volume 2 pre-orders. So we've got that momentum. We've got that built up. And this is actually something I'd say I see as an issue in the traditional manga industry too, is I have a lot of problems with the manga industry right now as well.
Well, speak on it, brother. That's why you're here, you know?
Yeah, man. I mean, we all know the problems in the comic book industry in the Western world, right? Like they're pretty apparent. Everybody talks about them. I think the manga industry is falling into a lot of traps as well. And I think they also have the illusion. We like to think manga is outselling comics in the West, right? Like that's kind of the big narrative. But it's like, well, yes, but I mean, all the groundwork, all that is being done in Japan. You know, there's 1,000 failed series for every, you know, moderate success in Japan. And then a Viz Media or Kodansha or something brings that over here once it has an anime. And they're like, look, it's outselling, but, you know, we're not really doing any of the work here. We're just importing the best of the best of the best. And then I hate to say this, but I do think the writing is falling into some mediocrity traps in becoming very derivative in the manga world. And so I say that because a lot of the issue is they're chasing this success of weekly series in Japan and of writing like they have to kind of go on the go. They don't have a big plan, but we've got.
Okay, let's stop right there because you answered my question perfectly.
Yeah,
you did. And we're going to get to that point. You killed it though. I want to go back to my question that I asked you about what people are doing wrong and right. And from I got from what I got from everything you said, what people are doing wrong is they're giving you a floppy it's not that much value attached to this book, and sometimes they don't deliver. Now, when I see what you're doing, okay, when it comes to your campaigns or what you do with your product, you giving people as much value as possible. Dope art, a lot of pages, a lot of perks attached to it. And I noticed that too in the indie world. People think, okay, I'm gonna come up with this floppy and I'll be a billionaire when I drop this floppy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So I respect that. I respect that.
Yeah, exactly. You know, you hit it on the head perfectly. And again, like some people don't have the ability to do more than that, so I get it. But I just think if you're really gonna make a go for it to be a big success, I think you've got to have your story lined up. You've got to have a good chunk of it available to your reader, and you've got to have a solid plan for when they're getting the next piece of it.
I really think you're doing something dope, because I know the novels came first and now the manga, but man, just the novel seemed like the novels would get you more deeper into that world, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
See, a lot of people don't realize that some people from the comic book and manga aspect will think books are boring. People don't care about books. That's not true. If you go all the way back to the caveman days, all people are interested in are dope stories that they can lose themselves into, where they can escape reality for a little bit, you know?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to shock you, Jay. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Even at Comic-Cons, books sell better than comics.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll give you some real numbers here. A really solid show for me, I can sell 150 books at a Comic-Con. Yeah.
Hey, man. That's why we call this Indie Comics Exposed, man. A lot of people didn't know that. I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah, I'm talking novels, right? Exactly. And you know, I only have 3 books out right now. As I expand that out, now there is a cap, you know, of like how many people you can interact with and all that. But I mean, I know guys who have a lot more books than me, and you can get up there in like the 200 books per show kind of range, versus a comic. It's crazy to say this, but the comic reading market, we like to think it's a lot bigger than it is. It's actually a little more closed off, and it's a little harder to sell people on an indie comic than it is on a book. The reader market, I think, is even more disillusioned with traditional publishing than we are in the comic world with like Marvel and DC. And so they're really open to indie books. They'll see something with a cool cover and a good concept, and they'll pick it up and try it.
Man, that's amazing. And that's funny you said that too, because about 2 weeks ago, I was driving in the car with my nephew, and we saw an antique shop, and they had dollar comic books for sale. Now, I said, okay, that's cool. I'll look through and see what I can grab. My nephew was with me. My nephew is like 12 years old. And I said, you see anything you want? And he kept looking and looking and looking. And I mean, there was some dope looking books, like your Tom McFarlane, Spider-Mans, all that type of stuff. He didn't have no interest. So what you said about that comic book niche being small, I believe you.
Yeah.
I believe you. Now, let's get to it, man, because I think the people want to know it. I definitely want to know it. So I watched you on Coffee Comics interview, and shout out to Coffee Comics. I'm going to have him on this series real soon. But something that stood out to me in that interview, you were speaking about how you took your books, you took your manga to Japan, and I'm going to leave it at that. I'm just going to say this. You said a word that stood out to me that was very interesting, and that word was gatekeeping, okay? And, you know, you have individuals in their mind, okay, I'm going to take my manga or I'm going to take my comic book to so-and-so place and show these big companies what I got, and then I'm going to blow up and make it big. So I want you to just give us a synopsis of what happened when you went to Japan and brought them your product.
Okay, let me see how much I can streamline this story. It's it's pretty interesting. So I went to Japan for Tokyo Comic-Con, and I had my manga printed right in this format. It's bound. It has a spine and everything, and in Japanese and English. And so while I was there, I had a week before and like a little bit of time after the Tokyo Comic-Con event. and I just decided to go for it and knock on the door of Shonen Jump's office.
That's brave, man. That's brave.
It was, especially in another language. It was actually extremely nerve-wracking. I went with like a script. I've been practicing my Japanese, so I could speak a little bit, and I had a script that I had translated and prepared, and I went up, and they have security guards everywhere. It is very much, if anybody has seen the show,
wow.
It's really like that. They have security guards to make sure you don't go anywhere except the front desk. So I had to like, go past all these security guards and to the front desk, and then try to get a meeting with the Shonen Jump office at the editors. And they basically told me, can't do it. You need an appointment, and you need to make that appointment in Japanese, and good luck. But the lady at the front desk was really nice. She slipped me a piece of paper with the phone numbers I needed to call. And then I got my translator who translated the manga to Japanese for me. She lives in Okinawa. I got her on the phone with them, and I did manage to schedule a meeting with the Shonen Jump office.
Okay. So plan one, done. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Then I got blessed again at Tokyo Comic-Con. I ran into a guy who worked for Kodokawa, which is like a smaller publisher in Japan. And he was trying to network, and he had contacted every manga office except Shueisha, which is who owns Shonen Jump. So he's like, well, I'll come translate for you live because I want to meet some of these people. And so I had a translator, I had an appointment, and I took my stuff to them and showed it to them. And it was very Bakuman for anybody who's seen that show, where they're super stiff. You walk in there, you go into this like plain plexiglass little cubicle with them, and then there's no decorations, nothing. And he was super silent. He just picks up my manga, looks at it, reads it like all the way through, reads it again. And I was just like, well, what do you think? And he was just like, I actually didn't tell you. I don't know if I said all this on coffee, so I'll tell you a little bit more.
Okay, give us the exclusive, brother. That's why you're here.
Yeah. So he basically told me, and I showed you the pages. The art's great. He told me
the art is fire. The art is fire. What did he say?
He told me it's not Japanese, and that they had no interest. One, because the artist was not Japanese, is what he said.
Wow.
Yeah. So he told me if I wanted to keep doing this and write for Shonen Jump, that I should work with a Japanese artist. So that offended me a lot, because I really have grown to kind of a brotherhood with my friend Rodrigo, who we've been working together for years now. And I personally love his art. He's like one of my favorite artists of all time. So I was like, no, I'm doing this because I want to work with this artist, and you've got other more creative magazines like Sunday and stuff like that who are doing Witch Hat Atelier, and then there's like something called Tower Dungeon now, and some of them are being more creative and taking risks with completely different art styles. So to say that like, no, it had to be a Japanese artist and had to match this exact art style it's really creatively bankrupt, and it could also just be a gatekeeping technique as well. Then he went on to tell me that, no, we have a format here. You need to stick to the exact template we use at Shonen Jump for how to write a story, and it's the Japanese way. You need to do that, and you're not doing it that way. So we don't like your art, and we don't like the way you did your story, and we have no interest here. Like we don't want this.
That's insane. Okay, because man, just you flipping through the pages just now. That's top tier. That's top tier artist level. To me, it don't get no better than that. So when he said those words to you, and you sat down and you meditated on it, what was going through your mind? What was going through your head?
Yeah, dude, I genuinely was angry, because at first I was disappointed for a little bit, but the more I sat on it, the more I realized it was just gatekeeping, but even in a worse version than you see in America. I mean, to all the people who are out there like dreaming that I'm going to take my stuff to Shonen Jump, like they don't want you. They have no interest. And
I mean, man, I'm telling you, okay, you had the cojones to go over there, show them your work. Your work is pure quality. So for a lot of people, that's going to bring people from up here all the way down here, Yeah. So on a business aspect, what did you start thinking after that? Like, I'm just going to keep trying to, I'm going to have better content and go to them? or I'm just going to try to put matters into my own hands, or something different? What was going through your head business wise?
Yeah, so I'm a really business oriented guy. I have an engineering background, and I work on contract sides
Okay.
of the engineering work. So I really think about things from a business perspective. And really, what started going through my mind after the initial emotions is, all right, well, how do we keep moving forward? And the truth is, for everybody out there, if you're going to get your manga picked up in Japan, it's the last step. It's you are super successful here in the United States or in your home country, and you're licensing things out. And so Japan would be, you're super successful, one of the best, and they're going to license your stuff because they want to bring it over. So I started thinking, and I'm like, all right, well, I know Brazil is the biggest market Brazil and France outside of the US. Rodrigo's from Brazil. He knows Portuguese. So that's our next step, is to look at Portuguese and get it into Brazil, because we've got that connection already. Okay, I got to build it. I got to build it up here in the United States and show the quality. I've got to deliver and get people excited about this, and then we'll worry about Japan later. Yes, they're the biggest market, but they're also they have their own population dynamic problems, and they're a shrinking market, even though they're the biggest, and they're very gate-kept. They're very closed off to Westerners and foreigners. And you know what? That's okay. They can pick up Hyperborea when it's very popular, and when the truth is, if I would have gotten accepted there, they would own the rights to all of my intellectual property, right?
You're right.
And now it's going to be, I own all the rights, which is what I prefer. And if they want to license it out in the future because it's really popular, I'm still going to own all the rights. I'm still going to have the control. And so that is the better path, but it is the harder path.
But you said something that was amazing. You said, okay, Japan shut me down. Let me hit these other markets that's blowing up in manga.
Yeah.
And see, you got a mind frame. I don't know if you read Napoleon Hill books, but he has a list of people, two people in this world, drifters and non-drifters. Okay. And see, when a drifter come across failure, well, it's over for me. It's done. I'm not going to make it. A non-drifter, when he met with failure, it makes them better, and they start to think of other ways to get to the point where they want to go. So, man, good for you. Just good for you on everything you just told me, because how many people are going to go to Japan and show them their product, And you know what? Yeah. Just shame on them, because I think your book is going to get better. I think you're going to hit these other markets, and you're going to kill it, man,
Thank you. Yeah. So, and again, to everybody, because I know a lot of the audience maybe watching this series is wanting to make their own comics, right?
Yeah.
Look, that's the truth of it. And in what he just said about drifters and that mindset of hitting failure, if you listen to that story, listen to the amount of quality and effort and just hustle I put in to get to that point and to face that rejection, that has happened over and over and over again, and I'm still going, right? So you got to have that mental fortitude where nothing is stopping you, right? This is happening, and I am a force of pure willpower, and I'm going to continue forward, and I will just figure out what that path is if one closes.
Most definitely. Now, I noticed when it comes to indie creators, when they've been in the game long enough, they come to this crossroad, and I want to ask you this question. You know how you'll come out with a product, and you'll be like, man, I can't wait for Marvel or DC or Dark Horse, Image Comics to pick this up. But then after a while, when you've been in the indie game long enough, you start thinking, you know what? They're not gonna promote me like I can promote me. Let me just try to do this myself. Have you came to that crossroad, or do you feel like, and it's okay if you feel this way, you still will want your books to be published by Marvel or DC, Shonen Jump, Dark Horse? Which one are you on right now?
I kind of have a hybrid of beliefs on that. I would not want my stuff picked up by a big name, but an Image Comics, you still own the rights to your IP. So I would be interested in something like that. Maybe not for Hyperborea, right? Like I said, I have a lot of stories to tell. So I have talked to Image. I've actually talked to some of the back executive level people at Massive, which is partnered with Mad Cave. And so like I've talked to some of these people, they don't really have a manga strategy right now. So even though like Mad Cave and Massive looked at my stuff and like, yeah, we want this, but we don't really know how to do manga yet, and we're not there. So we'll reach out to you when we get there. And I was like, well, I'm here now, so I'm going to keep going forward. But yeah,
that's pretty. But think about what you just said. Okay, you talked to Image, you talked to Mad Cave. The only company I can think of, and I could be wrong, on the Western side of things that does manga and been doing it since the 80s. Have you heard of Antarctic Press?
Oh yeah. I know Antarctic. I've watched some of Ben's YouTube videos.
Yeah. Shout out to Ben Dunn. But you know, just you saying that, it's not that many Western manga companies out there.
No, there's not. And again, here to, I guess the theme is to kill all the fantasy dreams of people who are thinking they're going to go to Japan or something. But on the same page, like you look at a Viz Media, right? That's the big publishing name. Like they only know how to pull successful IP from Japan. It's not like they know how to promote a new series or how to, develop a new series. So it's like there really is no path for you except to build your own brand and to do it yourself.
Yeah, most definitely. Last question. I always ask my guests this. In the future, where do you see your company? Where do you want your company to be in the future? What do you want to happen to your books? I mean, if you could just pretty much pick it out and it all happens exactly the way you want it, what do you want to happen with your books? What do you want to happen to your manga? Do you want video games? Do you want movies, big $1 million live action movies, anime? What's going on with the future of your company?
Yeah. Okay. This is fun. So I'm not necessarily not opposed to it, but I don't know that live action is like a must have for me. I do really want to get an animated adaptation of the manga. But it would happen in some kind of way where somehow I navigate the atrocity that is Netflix adaptions and Disney adaptions and all that. And I actually, somebody who wants to keep the creator involved and actually adapt the true vision. So I lean towards not having it adapted rather than adapting it with no input. The ultimate dreams, the ultimate fantasy is it's so big it gets a ride at Universal Studios. That's the ultimate dream. No, but then also from like a business perspective, I would like to see Hyperborea be such like a pillar and success in the West that I can, I have the pieces for a moderately successful, self-sustaining indie series, but I'd like to make it into what TMNT was back in the day. That famous story of they sold their comics out of their car and then ended up a smash hit. I would like to take that, but figure out how to do it completely indie and then spread that success and maybe be able to take on a few other other series and help them develop, as well as some of my other projects. So I would like what I publish out of Studio Zolo is the company. And I would like Studio Zolo to eventually have figured out the indie game enough to help some other people out and to bring up some other series because we need it. Like you said, there's a lot of fast food slop out there and there's not much good quality nourishment happening. And so I'd like to find the people who are doing that and help them get their stuff out there too.
Yeah, because I mean, like these companies, like when I look at all the manga, it's kind of like what you said, the animes. It's nothing motivating no more. It's nothing inspiring. It's nothing to make you want to watch every single episode, But when I look at your book, just looking at the cover, looking at the art, I'm like, man, okay, him breaking down that world, I really want to get to know more, And I feel like there's a lot of indie creators like that.
Yeah.
They just don't know what to do, because there's a lot of gatekeeping going on,
There is. So hopefully I can help some other people out in the future. I'm navigating and figuring it out now. And on that topic, one more comment. And
okay, speak on it, brother. This your time. Speak on it.
Yeah. Where that comes from, in my opinion, is making true art versus making one, propaganda, which is what the mainstream publishers are doing, or two, making business, making product, which is what a lot of people are doing as well, right? Like a lot of the manga doesn't feel original because they're just, okay, I want to make manga, but I don't have a piece of art I want to give to the world. I just am looking at other things, piecing pieces together, like creating something. No, I'm not trying to do that. If I don't have a good idea, I'm not creating something. I have a story I want to tell. I have themes about life that I want to explore through the process of my own writing, and then give the art that results from that exploration to people.
Break down what you just said about the propaganda, though. Can you break that down a little bit more?
Sure, of course. So really, there's three things, right? There's art, product, propaganda. Okay. And unfortunately, you see the drift from good art being made to productizing it and just needing to get products out, and then the kind of takeover that has happened in the West a lot to propaganda, right? There's, instead of telling stories because you want to create art, you're telling stories because you want to push a message. You want to assert an agenda to your audience. And of course, like, we all see it happening. It's so overt now that people are really picking up on this. But unfortunately, it's to the point where a lot of these companies can't come back from like where they're at. They have so many propagandists at Disney or at Marvel that they can't even undo their own mistakes, because it's kind of a parasite that's taken over, and they can't create.
Too far gone.
Yeah.
It's too far gone. Ethan, man, I really appreciate you, man. Scratching your brain. You telling me about your wonderful works. Where can the people find you, my friend?
So you can find me on Instagram, and the link in my profile will have links to everything else. But you can also find my books on Amazon. You can find my Kickstarter. I think the wonderful Fatal J here is going to have a link to that. You can find my Kickstarter and get a copy of the manga. Even after the Kickstarter closes, I'll still be taking orders. And then, hopefully we'll see you back here again sometime. Thank you, Fatal J. Great talking to you, man.
Hey, man, most definitely we'll have you back on the show to speak a little bit more. And that's Time's Up with Indie Comic Exposed, Secrets Exposed. Thank y'all so much. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? We're out of here.
You had the best verse on the tape. It's unbelievable. Oh, you playing it? Now listen.